What is a live ball rotation? What is it supposed to do? Put you in a better position to see a play, right? So, if my ball handler's over here and Brandon's my lead, there's a competitive match up here, competitive match up here, and the ball's there. Where do you think he should be?
On that side.
On that side, why?
Because there's two competitive matchups for the two officials on that side.
Because you have the ball here. Where's he going to try to put the ball? More than likely. He's going to try to feed it. Come out here in a second. So if there's that matchup there, he's going to try to feed it. Now, if he starts dribbling this way, Danny goes the other side, what's he going to do? He's going to look to go. Now, I call it a checkpoint. I got right here the lane line extended. If he starts wide, so if I have the ball, Brandon starts wide. I look, nothing there. I start dribbling this way. Brandon sees that they're going to go there. If I pass it to Matt, he checks because he wants to make sure, is there still a matchup in my area and do I need to go? Because what happens if he just goes and Matt throws me the ball? We now have an unbalanced floor if he's already gone. So he checks to see what Matt's going to do. So he goes there, realizes there's 8 people over there, he's got to go. I call this the no-fly zone. If you're going to go through it, you better go through it. Don't be like, no, I'll get through it. No, move with a purpose. Not all out sprint, but put a little pep in your step. Because all too often what happens is he'll get to right about where that cone is, that ball will go underneath, and he'll be like, that's a dang good play right there. Now what has he done when he stops right there? He's behind the backboard. He could get run over. What about for his partners?
They don't know which way to go.
They don't know where to go, right? Because he's like, that's a really good play. Oh, I'm in the middle lane. Now I've got to make a decision. Or if he sits in the middle lane, there's a drive to the bucket, he's going to get run over. So move with the purpose. Now, we start out here. I give it to Matt. He goes across. What's my trail doing when he goes across? He's coming down. Pretend like you're on rubber bands or long strings or ropes. He goes, he gets pulled. What does that do to my center? Goes out. Now, if Sydney's my center, Sydney, come down here. Now, give me a little bit of space right here. She's center right here. Should she move yet if I'm the defensive player? Why not? It could go back, but what else has she got? What?
A great view.
She's got a dang good look at this, right? Because if I found, if she goes back to, what's your name? Where Justin is, now she can't see through this play. But if she sticks right here while this competitive matchup is going on, she sees the play. If it starts coming this way, she'll go down. She knows he's rotated. She knows that he's over there, and she knows she's got to go get lead if that ball goes the other way. She knows all that in the back of her mind when she's officiating. So if that ball happens to come and she happens to slide a little bit to keep this angle, and she's got a 5-second count, if that pocket gets picked, she's on her horse. And he's on the backside with a backside look. And if Brandon's any good, he's going to be right about there when that play ends. When we go the other way, I said if he's any good, he usually is there. So just remember that. Just because you rotate doesn't mean you vacate a good look. Now, if Matt's here, come right here, she's center, she's going to go high on this one. She's going to go right about where Justin is and maybe in a little bit. She doesn't want to come in too far, because if I pick the pocket and I now run somebody over that's an official, you're in the way, I'm going to run you over. Sorry, you're part of the floor at this point in time. But if she sees that, she gets high, sees that look, ball goes, then she goes back to her normal position. So I call it a checkpoint. Come, you don't necessarily have to stop, but I like to come to close down. You get to, when you're going across, you come to here. Should I go? Yes, and then you go. Sometimes it's, I make the decision and away I go. So just remember that. Sometimes you don't even stop, you just, yep, I'm going. But what I don't want you to do is take off sprinting from the 3-point arc all the way across. Be moving as that ball goes across. So if he starts dribbling back, Brandon would slide, realize the ball comes over here, and he'd look to go. Questions on that? Now, if Brandon is my lead right over here, Sydney's my center, and you're my trail. We talked about this play right here in the corner. Come here, Justin. You can be my guinea pig again. Here, right here. You can be my offensive ball handler. Who do you think has the best look at this? Center, right? So the center's going to pull up. So when she pulls up, he realizes, hey, she's coming to get a better look. Because what happens is we may go this way and in underneath. So he waits for a second to see her come up. As soon as you come up and he knows that he went across, then Drew just goes right on down to center. We facilitated rotation from the center. It doesn't happen all too often, but it does happen. Because what happens is she could take a look at it, that ball skipped the other way, and she just slides right on back down. So it's just trying to put yourself in a better position to get a good look. Because what you have here is you have out of bounds and division line. And if we double team him, we now have 4 people right here. Because you have two lines that he can't touch. So just remember that. If Brandon gets caught mid-rotation, he starts to rotate, and I go ahead and I shoot this ball, what do you think he should do? What?
Continue rotating through.
Why? Why should he continue rotating through?
Very committed to it.
But if he's right there, and I put that shot up going, dang. If I put that shot up, wouldn't it be just easier for him to take 2 more steps back? Because she hasn't moved and he hasn't moved. Because they don't move until he commits fully to the rotation. You don't establish your new position until you get all the way across. So he could be 3/4 across that lane, that ball goes in the air, and he can go back. I agree, you get 2 more steps, just clear it out. But what happens is, if she's watching the shot and doesn't see him come over, what do we create?
Problem.
We create a problem. He's a good enough official, and so is she. All he has to do is say, I rotated, and she goes, all right, I got you. She's got to run a few more steps and be a little more mad, but yeah, just back on out. The other thing is, if we have this, he starts to rotate. She's at center right here. Slide down a little bit. I start driving to the bucket as he rotates. What do you think he should do? He should probably back out, because what's going to happen is she's got this look, he's got that look. They've got a pretty good look at it. And if he rotates and for some reason I keep going and I go through him, now he's hurt. And we don't want that. So if there's a drive to the bucket, you'll see it a lot when they curl the corner. They curl around that corner, just stop and back out. Because he's going to step down and he's going to back out. So just remember that when you have that. If there's a drive to the bucket or a shot, just back on out. And if for some reason you've made the commitment that you're going to go on across and let your partners know that you went. Yep.
And also, so talking about coverage areas, another reason to back out of that is, so if that drive starts over there and is going to the basket, she has that play all the way to the basket. If while the person's driving, I switch and try to take her play, then we might have 2 whistles on it. We're going to have completely different looks. I might have a block, she might have a charge, and that causes a problem. So if I just back out of that play, let her take it 100%, then she had the only call. We only have 1 call on it.
So, as we move up and down the floor for press coverage, if Brandon's still over there and we have a turnover, how are they going to run up the floor? Just straight down the floor, right? So he becomes the new lead, she stays center, he becomes trail. He's got a backcourt count. If there's any pressure, Sydney stays. Would stay right here. Because if I come this way and there's a defender here and a matchup here, she's going to help out. If it's just a one-on-one matchup, he needs to be able to handle that. And then she checks at the division line, because if there's anybody that comes back, I'm going to throw you the ball behind you. If he's on the other side of the division line and I throw the ball to him, she's got to know if he comes across that line, because Brandon's not going to be able to see it. So she's got a mental checkpoint as we go across. Thank you. All right. So quickly we'll do some foul, dead ball switches and rotations. If Sydney's my C and Drew's my trail, if Sydney calls a shooting foul, my table's right where Zoe is. If Sydney calls a shooting foul, bam, whistle in the air. What's she gonna do? Report it. What's she gonna become? The trail. What's Brandon gonna do? He's going to get this ball and he's going to put it either in play or get ready. What's Drew going to do? Become the center. Now if Drew calls an out of bounds foul or a common foul, I have the ball over here. Mr. Legank has the ball. He gets fouled. Who's he going to switch with? Don't do anything yet. Got lead, trail, and center. Switch with the trail, right? So Drew comes over to the foul reporting area. When I say the foul reporting area, don't go in front of that white line. What's Sydney going to do?
Lead.
Why would she go to lead? Hang on. Why would she go to lead? No, we don't do a big circle.
That would make sense.
No.
Least amount of movement.
Least amount of movement. So what does she do? She goes across. So now she's going to put the ball in play. Go ahead, go across. So if we put the ball in play, what do we say about the center putting the ball in play? What? On that side. She should never, how many, you need 2 people, right? So the center never puts it in play. So she's trail. So what does that mean? Brandon's got to become lead, and he now becomes the center over here. Always have 2 people. If Brandon calls a shooting foul right there, who does he switch with? The person right here, the center of the trail right here. So he comes on over. Drew switches him up. What does Brandon become then? The trail. Because if we're going to shoot, he's going to stay on this side. And she just drops down to center.
So say Brandon in that situation had called a shooting foul, right? And we're now crossing each other because we're switching places. What he can do is he can go 2 shots, so that I know what I'm doing when I get down here. Does that make sense?
The other thing you can do if you're Drew, Brandon calls a shooting foul. He may not know if it goes in. So as a good partner, I walk by you and say, bucket went, bucket fell, however you want to do it. Because inevitably you're going to have somebody come up there, white 23, push, 2 shots, and they're like, what? Bucket went, white 23, push, 1 shot. I don't tell him any numbers, I don't tell him anything. Bucket fell. Because I say, white 10's your shooter, what's he going to do? He's going to go white 10, had the foul, right? Versus blue 23. So don't tell him, I've got white 23 or white 10 as your shooter. I've got the shooter. Then you don't have to worry about it. Especially in the bonus situations. If you're not into bonus, I've got the shooter, you take the foul. Because I don't want to put any more numbers in your head. Or I'll like, this is my shooter, this is who fouled. And I'll let people know, so then at least mentally I understand it. If we have a foul, Drew's my lead right here, Brandon, Sydney. If he calls a foul that's going that way, illegal screen, pushing the back on a rebound, whatever it is, he's going to go to the table, report it, and keep going. And Brandon's going to come replace him. If Sydney calls it opposite the table, she's going to slide over here, report it, and go back. So the lead's always going to switch. The other 2 are going to stay where they are. So if she's trail, she's just going to come up and report it and go back. The biggest thing about that, and there's a reason I spent about 15 seconds on it. If Sydney says the ball's going in play right there, put the ball in play right there, make sure you have a lead, a trail, and a center. And I don't care how you do it. And it may be like you run this big old circle. But work with each other. We talk about this in high school, and we've probably spent an hour and a half on it in a high school clinic. And those guys have much, much more experience than you do, and they screw it up worse than you'll ever will. Trust me. So if you call foul going the other way, fill in, just say, hey, the ball's going there. After that, I don't care. And we'll talk about this when we do practice games on Monday and Tuesday next week. Questions? Comments, concerns? All right, we're going to go upstairs. Tonight's probably going to be a little bit of a shorter night. We're going to go upstairs. We're going to watch